pretty sure that you are now delighted that there are no more questions about transfers, about the transfer window. Good business, we know that, we've talked to you about that, but genuinely, you just can now get on with football, playing football and working towards the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was obviously a busy window. I think the most important bit, just to kind of confirm, we're really delighted with a lot of the business we've done. I think the nice thing now is, and we actually had a meeting the other day, that this is it. This is the squad. This is everybody now all in for the next 3-4 months to fully commit. To, really push to continue building on some of the good work that the guys have done to date.
You've got an opportunity. Sorry, you've got an opportunity now to push on even further with those players and get them into a side pushing for promotion. How have they all settled in? Just spoken to Conor Commentary about the key word that you used a lot is culture and the way that the players will fit into a side. How's that all happened in the last 3 or 4 days and week?
Yeah, I think firstly it's the group that are already here. I think we had such a terrific group of people and characters that, again, I think it makes it a lot easier for new players joining when you're walking into such a good changing room with like I said, with such good characters. And then obviously what we actively look to recruit. So we obviously we want good players, but we also want good people and good professionals. And I think that's what we've added to the group. So I think that when you talk around having consistency in the culture and having a culture where we can perform, we can get results, people can improve, people are open to getting better. I think that's a key asset as well. I think we've recruited players that want to do that and can fit into it, but also we've got a group driving that, and I think that's the most powerful thing. Is it's not the staff, it's a collective, it's staff and players. Everybody has a common goal. Everybody is working towards the same thing, and it's a collective driving it, which makes it a lot easier for players to transition in.
Results going well, football's going well, transfer window's gone well. I guess you are, and you have said this several times this season, and I've had to deal with an old football manager called John Still, who was at Luton, who always used to say, always, never too up when you're up, never too down when you're down. And it's kind of the philosophy I think you take into it. Things are going very well at the moment, but you're only, I suppose, 5 minutes from the next down, so you've got to kind of stay philosophical about it.
Yeah, and it's a story for pretty much most sides if you look in the league. Do you know what I mean? That have runs, have good spells, and then have really challenging and difficult spells. And I think the more open, the more aware you are, it's probably easier, mentally being prepared for when them moments come. And I think that's what we've got is, we take each game. We don't get too carried away if we're in a good spot, and we don't get too low if we've had a bad time. So I think it's about staying together as a group. It's about staying focused on us, what we need to do, controlling what we can, which, again, give huge credit to the guys in terms of going out and attitude, application, work rate, desire to compete. That irrespective of results and how things have gone, I haven't questioned that hardly at all this season, which is something that, the foundations of any successful team, any, strong performing team has to have. And I think we have to recognise that and celebrate it from internally. Definitely, we've got a good group of lads that ultimately give their everything every week. That then allows us to coach them to add more quality or to add understanding of experiences or how you manage momentum, things like that. But I think it all has to be underpinned by that strong culture.
You enjoy yourself, Luke?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I enjoy working with people. I think that's the biggest thing. So many good people here. It makes coming in a lot more enjoyable. A lot more. I get up and I look forward to coming in every day, which. I think you have to have that. I'm really passionate about the job. I'm passionate about the group that we've got here. I really want to help, the collective really improve and get better to a level. And that's what I love doing. That's what I'm passionate about. And like I said, it's really enjoyable at the minute.
Lincoln up next, then. I think we'll all remember the away performance. Looking for another 3 points at home against Lincoln.
Yeah, I think they showed up there in terms of obviously 2 down quite early on. I think I don't look too much at league tables, but their position for me doesn't reflect the quality they have in the group and how good they are. I think they're a really good team, to be totally honest. I think they've got some really talented players, and I thought that they were really difficult up there on Boxing Day. I thought it was a really tough game, one that I still to this day don't know how we've come away with the 3 points, to be honest. So we know it's going to be an extremely difficult game. They've obviously added in the window, and it's one that we have to make sure that what we've shown in the last 2 weeks against Burton from a footballing game, and Wickham at times, a scrap, a fight, that side of it, that whatever the game dictates tomorrow, that we ultimately solve the problem that the game presents and come out on top.
How's Josh?
He's okay, yeah. He's okay. He was sore. We've had a look at it this week. He's progressing, so it's nothing too serious.
And just finally from me, with the new players that are included, you've got a bit of a headache, haven't you? A selection headache. You've got some decisions to make for this coming game.
Yeah, I think I have to say it's been like it throughout the year in terms of picking a starting 11. Obviously, we've not had the depth squad-wise because of some of the changes, but obviously we've added and we've now got that, and I think that's really healthy. I've referenced it numerous times that we need the squad, we need everybody to be ready to step in and grab the opportunity, and that for me doesn't change. We're all in. Nothing's going to change, as we said, in the next 3-4 months. And that's the key to it. Everybody, when called upon, is going to have to step up and be ready.
I know we don't like to remember it too well, but the first hour at Lincoln was a bit of a nightmare, wasn't it? I mean, for all that you dominated for long periods, it was that 2-0 scoreline that we'll probably all remember, and that last half an hour comeback, I mean, that showed another side of your side, didn't it? We've mentioned it plenty of times, and you even mentioned it earlier on, you're showing different edges to your side, but there's not an awful lot of other learning experiences for your side to have, are there?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty along the way. I think we're by far the finished article, and we'll continually reflect. Again, it was a tough day. Thanks for bringing that one up. To be fair, it was a challenging game, that's for sure. But the guys are terrific. They've done it so many times in games, where we've shown numerous times that that never giving up, that resilience, that togetherness, that's what being a team is. In good times you stick together, and in them challenging times, and when things aren't quite going, to perform to how you want it. Sorry, I think what we've shown collectively is that we're all in. We're here to help each other. We're here to support each other through them times, and that was probably the big thing that came out of that game for me, is that the lads are all in. That they're there to help each other.
We mentioned it a lot at the start of the season, in particular, that you wanted to make Stadium MK a bit of a fortress and a tough place to come. It's actually been a away form that's picked up most of your points this season, though. Not that there's an awful lot in it, but Stadium MK is becoming that place where teams come and try and frustrate you, isn't it? What do you try to do now to overcome that?
Yeah, I think more of the same, to be honest. I think when you look at it, we might not have got the results, but the performance haven't always reflected that. Obviously we do a huge amount of post match, and obviously Donny, the most recent one. If you actually look at it in terms of things like the expected goals, if you go through all the data and you look at the game, I was relatively pleased with aspects of, we looked a lot more threatening, we created a lot more chances. So for me, it's it's not changing or doing anything different. It's just being better at what we did in them games and taking your chances. And again, like I say, we don't know what Lincoln will do tomorrow. We obviously do all our homework. We've got no idea how they'll set up, what their style will be in terms of whether they'll press, whether they'll block. And I think that's the most important thing, that the guys step up, and try and solve that problem and stick together and make good decisions in games. So again, I think we've done our work. It's now making sure we're prepared, the rest of today and tomorrow to step up and solve that problem that Lincoln will present.
Does that homework get even harder when, of course, there's been the transfer window and they'll have been shaken up as well?
Yeah, of course. You're always guessing what the opposition are going to do and set up, and that's why for me, even you have to find the right balance of it being about us versus how do we get success against what they do. And I think that credit to the staff as well. A lot of the work is around producing players that can think and use their brains and solve problems, rather than setting up to do a pattern against this because this is what we think they'll do. It's more around, if they do this is what you need to think about doing, and we train like that. The guys have really stepped up to own their decisions and take accountability, and I think that credit to them, that that's the thing for me that I'll be looking for again tomorrow. Can they think? Can they solve the problem that Lincoln present?
And finally, from me, we saw obviously Matt O'Reilly go to Celtic in the window. It seems like he's really hit the ground running. Is that any surprise to you whatsoever?
No, Matt's a really, really good player. He obviously, he did terrific for us, and he obviously went with our best wishes. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me in terms of how he's made that transition. He's a good footballer. He understands the game. He's got some really good qualities. So like I said, it's nice to see him go in there and do well, and I hope it continues for him.
Spoke to Liam Sweeting earlier in the week, and he thanked the players that helped the club kind of get through this January window when things were a bit light in terms of depth. Must be pleasing to know that over the last 6 games, then you actually have the second best form in League One.
Good to know. Yeah, no, that when I look at the course of the first half of the season, what we try to do, and I think it's important, is that you coach everybody. You know what I mean? You don't just work with your starting lineup each week. We work really hard to develop everybody for moments like that, for moments when people drop out the side, or when it can happen. I was speaking to coach the other week when they lose sort of 6-7 players to injury. I think you have to make sure that the people then aren't just having to learn what to do within a week. I think all the work has to be done so that when like in January we're a little bit short at times, that people stepping in know what the style is, know what the principles are, know how to step in and do their job. And I think that again, like Liam said, credit to the guys that did it. I think that shows the depth that we had. Quite a few players moving on, but quite a few stepping in, and nothing changes. The style looked the same. We changed system, obviously. That didn't affect how we played, and again, I think that again shows that real resilience in the guys, and that they deal with distraction for me really well. I think that's the thing. There was a lot of noise, there was a lot of change, there was a lot of that to deal with, and the guys just cracked on and concentrated on training properly and delivering in games, and that's probably why we've seen some of the performance and results we have.
We've already asked about Josh. How's Aiden and David Kasumi doing with their injuries?
Yeah, they're both they're not available for the weekend. David's progressing really well. Aiden's not out on the grass at the minute, so we're having a look at that and just seeing where that one's at. But yeah, David's progressing well. He's moving in the right direction, so we're pleased with that.